Hello friends, welcome back to virtual session, and in today's session I'm going to discuss about string manipulation in Java. As you know, in C++ there is no string as a data type. Means to store a single character we have a character data type, and to enhance it to the set of characters we have to enhance it or update it as a character array. There is no separate string as a data type in C and C++, right? We have to make a set of array of characters to make it a string type over there. But in Java there is a individual data type called as string, and to manipulate with the strings they provides you various non-static methods. Just like, for example, if you want to assign any string, then you can declare it like this: string str equals to axiom take guru, right? And if you want to find out the length of the string, then it provides the method called as str.length, right? It actually returns length of a string. Then means like string is a data type in Java. You have to declare a variable and assign the data to it. Means it's a class available, right? And it provides you the non-static methods. Now here str become an object of string class. There is no need to create string str equals to new string and sort of things are there, because whatever the string you will be assigning, that much number of dynamic memory will be allocated to string variable. So there is no need to create an instance of that. str.length will return the length of a string. Here in this case, like the total number of characters available in the string in assume take guru will become the length of the string. And if you want to find out the character available in the specific position, then we have char@, method, char@ and the position. Means if you want to extract out a single character or character available in the position, then you have to use a method called as char@, extracts character in specified position. For example, if here referring to the str string str.char@0, so you will get A. Likewise str.char@1 will extract out X. It means it's again a set or array of characters. As you know, array subscripts starts with 0. So first character is available in the 0th position, and hence last character position will be str.length -1, right? So if A is available in the 0th position, referring to the string called as axiom take guru, U is available This is the last scatter, that is the str dot length, right? Total length of the string -1. Why -1? Because the counting of subscript starts with a 0 for that, right? Now let us write the logic first logic over there. If you want to print reverse of a given string, if you want to print the reverse of a given string, let's say for example you have a string is str equals to axiom take guru, and you want to print the reverse of it. So what logic you can apply? You set the loop like for integer I equals to str dot, you have to start extracting out the characters from the last character to the 0th character. So str dot length -1, set the reverse loop, so I should be more than equal to 0, I minus minus, and then if you write system dot out dot print str dot caret I, right? So this loop will set the position from string like last character to the first first character in the reverse order, and if you able to print the without going to the new line, if you able to print the character by character, you will get the final output like U R U G, right? H C E T and then M O I X A, right? The entire exactly reverse of the string called as axiom take guru, right? Hope you understand it. So here I use two methods, str.length and str.caret. str.length will extract out the length of the string, str.caret will extract out the character available in that position over there, right? Now it depends on the logic of reversing a string, where we set the position from string length -1 to 0, in the reverse order and extracting the characters. Let us take an example that you want to write a method for reversing a given string, right? So now as we know, as we come to know, there are, in the last sessions we discussed that there are two types of methods, and that methods are static type and non-static type. Method means after identifying a process inside main, we need to divide that method, we need to write that method outside the main, which will provide me the advantage of programming modularity, division of main module into the various submodules, right? And to get that advantage, let us understand that now I want to write a method to which I should provide the string, and on that provided string it should able to give me in return the reverse of that string. I just discussed the reverse logic with you. So I'm writing here a non-static method for reversing a given string. Non-static means I need to create the object reference to give the call to that method. For your reference, let me tell you that all the methods, just like for example here we discuss about caret method, then we discuss about the length method. All the methods of string are of non-static type, right? So let us write a method which will accept any string from you and able to reverse that string. So here is the package import java.lang.star, which will import all the core functionality, then import java.util.star, which will import a class called as scanner, and then I am writing a user defined class called as reverse string, right? And then public static void main. Here I am creating the object of scanner sc equal to new scanner system.in, right, by which I can able to read any string from the user. Then it will give you the prompting message, enter any string, right, and the next method will read a string from you and assign to the variable called as string str. So here in this manner I will able to read a source string from the user. Then as I am writing a method, that method name is called as reverse, right? That method name which will accept the string from me and return the reverse of the string. So this method is a non-static method, so I need to create the instance of, create the object of reverse string. Reverse string is my class. So reverse string rs equal to new reverse string, it creates the instance of reverse string class, and then by using the object of reverse string rs dot reverse, and then I am passing it on this source string as an argument to it. So directly the call jumps to the method definitions. Here is the method definitions. So like my method definition is public. As I want to access from the inside and outside class, it has to be public type. It returns the string type of data, and reverse is the method, and it gives the string str as an argument. Now try and understand that this str and the variable which you declare in the main, these are the two different variables because they declared in the two different scopes, right? As you know that one variable will not be duplicate variables are not allowed in one scope, means one variable name and considering two variables, it not allowed, duplicate of variables not allowed, but if they are declared in the two different scopes, it is absolutely allowed. So str is actually redeclare over here, but it is in the different scope, so hardly matters, like because this str is belongs to main and this str is belong to the reverse method. So this str will take the source string from the user. Now I am having a local variable called as rstr. Now reverse string means I have to extract out, I discussed the logic, I have to extract out character by character from string length -1 to 0. So that extracted characters from the last character to 0, I will be extract out and concat to the rstr string. So here string is rstr equals to blank. Initially I assign to blank. Then I set a loop for integer I equals to str dot length -1, I more than equal to 0, I minus minus. So this loop will sets the position from last character to the first character, and that extracted characters I am going to concat rstr plus equals to. Here we discussed in the prior sessions that like to concat means like addition is whenever you are operating plus operator with the string type of data, then it doesn't means the addition of the two characters, it's a concatenation, right? So here rstr is initially assigns to blank character, and then the character which we extract out from the last to 0 we concat to the rstr. So at the end of this loop I am having this all the characters from last character to 0 in the reverse order sequence or order of sequence, and then that rstr reverse string will be returned back to the calling area. So here this rstr, the local to the main, will actually when you pass on the source string, the reverse of the string will be assigned to the rstr. So whenever system.out.println this original string, it will print the original string, and the reverse string will be the rstr, right? Here we successfully able to develop a reverse string which will accept the source string and return up the like your targeted reverse string, right? Let us compile this code. So for that reason you need to go to the command prompt. After that switch to the directory where it stores. So my directory Java 1st June, and then I will be compiling firstly, that is Java C, Java compiler, and then reverse string dot Java, right? So it will compile the code firstly, and then I will write Java reverse string, right, and hit enter. Once I hit enter, it will ask me to enter a string, right? So I will enter a string axiom and click enter over here. So it will say original string you entered, that is called as axiom, and the reverse string is moixa, which is exactly the reverse of the string axiom. Enter another string called as TechGuru, and you will get the reverse of the string. Hope you understand this. What I did in this particular code, I built a method called as reverse, which accepts the source string from the user and exactly return the reverse of the strings. For that reason, I extracted the character from the last to 0. I set the loop in this manner and concat that each and every character extracted in the rstr and return that entire string to the calling area, and in this manner I can able to develop a method for reversing any given string over there, right? Hope you got it. Okay, so now we understand that like how to reverse a string. Now let us write another code, okay, to count number of vowels and consonants in a string. As we are discussing string manipulations, as we know that vowels means the combination of A, E, I, O, U, right? So it means, and then rest are the consonants, means like the characters which doesn't match to the characters A, E, I, O, U. Rest all are the consonants over there. As we know, there are total 26 alphabets, but from those 26 alphabets only A, E, I, O, U, these only 5 characters termed as vowels, and the rest characters are termed as the consonants over there. So first of all, what we can do for if a given string is there, let's say for example you have a string called as Axiom, right, and you want to find out the total number of vowels and consonants available in this particular string. Now here in this case A, I, O and M, these are the vowels characters. So what I can do in this case, I can set a loop for integer I equals to 0, I less than str dot length, right? I plus plus means I just need to set a loop which will start from the 0th character to the last character. Then first of all you extract out the character ch may be equals to str dot caret I. What this step will do, it will extract out the character available in the specific I position and assign to ch. Then I have to check it out, whether that character matches to A, E, I, O, U or not. So for that reason, what I need to do, I have to take one vowel counter, right, and set it initialized to 0, and then I will write the condition if that character matches to A, right, or that character matches to capital A, because the character may be available in the uppercase also, or the character matches to A, E, or the character maybe matches to capital E, or the character maybe matches to I, or the character maybe matches to capital I, or character maybe matches to O, or the character maybe matches to capital O, or character maybe matches to U, or character maybe matches to capital U, right? Is in all these cases, because here I am using a OR logical operator. Now what is the functionality of OR logical operator? Means if any one of these conditions, now this logical operators means to concat or combine two or more conditions together, we have to use OR and NOT operator. Now here in this case we are using OR. Why we need to use OR? Because the character which you extract out may be matched to any one of it, right? If you use AND, what is the functionality of AND gate? All has to be on. It is not possible that the character which is available in the specific positions will match to A also, E also, I also, right? It may be any one. So here in this case you have to concat that all the conditions with the OR, not with AND. Just need to understand that. So if the character is matches to A, E, I, O, U either, then you increment the vowel counter by 1, right, and you complete your loop. Okay, so this loop will able to find out, at the end of this loop you will come to know how many total number of vowels are available in that particular string. And if you want to find out the consonants, then string length minus VC. As I said, A, E, I, O, U, these are the only vowels characters and the rest are the consonants. So from the string length, if you minus the value of VC, you will get the number of consonants, right? Referring to this particular logic, just try and understand what I did. I read the string from the user, I set the vowel counter to 0, you have to set the loop from 0 to string length and then I++, extract out the character available character by character from that particular I position to the string length, and then if that character matches to AIU, then increment the vowel counter. At the end of this particular loop, you will come to know the total number of vowels available in that particular string, right? So if you reduce the if you subtract the value of vowel counter from the length, you will get the number of consonants. Referring to the same logic, let us define a method, right? Now here we are writing a method for finding number of vowels and consonants. So here we have to import the package called as import java.lang.star, import java.util.star, and let us write a class called as by the name of a vowel counter. First of all, initialize the object of scanner sc equal to new scanner system.in. You read the value of string from the user sc.next, and then as you are developing a instance method in the vowel counter class, so you have to create the object vowel counter vc equal to new vowel counter, right? And then here is the method by the name of vcounter. Vcounter is a method which is accepting a string from the user and compute the total number of vowels available in the string. So whenever you give a call to the vowel counter and assigning and pass it on the string of which you want to find the number of vowels, so that str will get the string over there. int vc equal to 0, int I equal to 0 to string length, you set the loop over there. str.char I will extract out the character available in the positions, and if that character matches to AIU vc++, and return that vc. Now this method will accept the string from the user and able to compute the number of vowels available in the particular string and return that number of vowels. Now here number of vowels equal to vc.vcounter, you will find the number of vowels available, and the number of consonants equal to string length minus the number of vowels. So that will able to print the number of consonants over there, right? Hope you understand it. What we did in this case, like we have to extract the characters matches with the AIU, and then in this manner you need to increase the count the number of vowels, and number of consonants equal to string length minus vowels, right? Let us compile this code. Like javac vowel counter dot java, and after that java vowel counter, right? If you run this if you enter the string axiom, enter, you will say in axiom you have 3 vowels and 2 consonants. A, I, O, M are the vowels and 2 consonants. Let us enter another string called as take guru. We will say the total number of characters are 8, but 3 are the vowels and 5 are the number of consonants over there. Hope you understand how we can build a method for finding out the number of vowels and consonants in a string. Here again, what the methods we are using, dot length and the dot caret over there, right? Hope you understand how we can build the vowel counter method, which will extract out the number of vowels, and when you subtract the number of vowels from the string length, you will get the number of consonants over there, right? Okay, now let us discuss how we can develop a case converter. Now case converter means if you enter a string in the lower case, then your logic should able to convert into the capital, and if you enter in the upper case, your logic should able to convert in the lower, or right, small a capital X, small a capital O, small n. Just like reversing, it's not a reverse of the string, but like reversing the case of the characters available in the string, right? Now for that reason, what logic you can apply? Let's say, first of all, let us understand you have a string str equals to like this, AXIOM. This is the string available. So what you can do, first of all you extract out the characters, because as you know that lower characters and upper characters having the different ASCII codes. Now ASCII code means it's a American standard code for information interchange, right? Means right from the 0 to 255 there are total 256 ASCII codes. ASCII codes means decimal equivalent of a specific character. Means for example, if you enter the capital A, then 65 is a ASCII code of capital A. So in the internal memory, that A gate represents in the 0 and 1 format, means it will convert that 65 decimal to the binary. As you know that your computer's memory or computer system is an electronic device, so everything internally has to be represented in the format of zeros and 1. So the total characters available in on the keyboard, right, though it is a character for us, but internally it's a zeros and 1 for the computer systems. So whenever you type any specific character, its decimal equivalent goes in the internal memory, and it represents, converts the decimal equivalent to the binary. Means internally it's a number systems only plays a role. So capital A having ASCII code 65, capital Z 91, right, small a 97, small z 123. These are the ASCII codes. Like if you want to have that ASCII codes and as well as the characters available in the ASCII codes, then you can Google out for the ASCII table. You'll get that ASCII table. So you'll get all those characters which are available in the right from the 0 to 255. And then if you are using the digits over there, starting from 48 to 58, there are total 10 digits will be represented in this manner, 48 to 58 over there. So what I'm trying to say now, like what are the discussions about why we need these ASCII values? Because you know that the difference between capital A and small a, right, the difference between capital A and small a is of 32, right? So if I identify the character is capital A, and if I add 32 in it, it becomes a small a. And if I identify capital as a letter as a small a and minus 32 from it, it becomes a capital. Means to convert a character from capital to lower or lower to capital, right, I need to add 32 or minus 32 in it. If I add 32 in the upper character, it will become a lower character, and if I subtract 32 from the upper character, it will become a capital character over there. You understand my point? So this is the way, like let's say I want to now change the case of this given string. So what I can do in this case, I will set a loop in this manner for integer I equals to 0, I less than str.lang, right, I plus plus, and then first of all I will be extract out the ASCII value int n equals to, as you know, str.charact will extract out the character in the position, and if I mask into the integer, right, if I mask into the integer, I will get the ASCII value. Now if this ASCII value is more than equal to 65 and less than 97, it means it is clearly it's a capital letter, so I need to add 32 in the ASCII values. And else if n is more than equal to 97 and n less than 123, it means it's a clear case of a lower alphabet, so I need to subtract 32 from it. And then if I take a resultant string, let's say string cstr, right, equals to blank, and here at the end of a condition cstr plus equals to, again character, because that ASCII value, updated ASCII value need to be converted into the character, so that we can concat it to the resultant CSTR. So now at the end of a loop, if I print this CSTR, right, obviously it will have a characters which is exactly opposite of a case of an axiom over there. So here you got A, X capital, I small, O capital, M small, right? So it means I am able to, by using this particular logic, I am able to convert the case of this particular string. As I said, if you enter all characters in the lowercase, you will get uppercase. You will get all characters upper, you will get lower. In Java, there is a 2 upper, 2 lower methods are already available, but I'm just like discuss the logic about how internally a Java library will able to convert the, means like what is the logic behind converting a case of the character, right? What you need to do, you have to deal with the ASCII values, identify on that ASCII values you'll identify whether that character is small or capital, and then if you are a capital characters, add 32 in it, it becomes small. If you identify that character as a small one, minus 32 from the ASCII value, it becomes capital. Hope you understand it. On the basis of this, we have to write a logic of a case converter, right? Here we write a method to convert the case. So import java.lang, import java.util. I'm writing a class called as case converter. Here I'm having a scanner class which will read a string from the mean, and then I'll create the object of a case converter because I'm having a instance method, non-static method by the name of change case. So I will create the object and then give a call to it. So obviously the original string I need to pass it on to the change case, and I will get in return the converted case over there. So let's go to the definition of the change case. Here is the definition of a change case. Public string change case. It's a user defined method I am writing, change case, and it takes the original string as the argument. String is CSTR equals to blank for I equals to 0, I less than string length I plus plus. As I just recently discussed that, okay, CSTR will hold the resultant string from 0 to string length. This loop will extract out the character from the specific string, and then mask it to the integer, means I will get the ASCII value, and you write the condition over there. If n is more than equal to 65 and n is less than 97, what is n in this case? The ASCII value of that specific character. And if you identify that if it comes in this particular range, it means it's a capital alphabet, so add 32 in the ASCII value, so it becomes lower one. And else if n more than equal to 97 and n less than equal to 123, it means it's a lower case, so minus 32 in it. And that updated ASCII value again you typecast to the character and concat to the CSTR. That resultant CSTR will return the change case, converted case string over there. So here original string will be the str and change case string will be the CSTR over there, right? So in this manner, this change case method will able to convert the case of the entire given string over there. Let us go for the compilation. So my program is case converter, so I will write Java case converter, right? Okay, Java case converter.java. So we compile it firstly and then Java case converter, right? You enter the string axiom, right? Here A and M I am writing capital, so I'll get only the A and M small, and xi is a capital over there. If you enter the complete string in the capital, you will get the complete string in the lower. If you enter everything in the lower, you will get everything in the capital over there. So here in this manner, I'll get the result appropriately, whatever the number of characters available, or whatever the case of the string you are having. My case converter method or change case method will able to extract the characters from the particular string and able to change the case of the given strings over there. Hope you understand it, right? Okay, now let us discuss about the next logic, that many times while dealing with the data, as we need to secure the data, we need to perform the encryption and decryption of data, because if you keep the data as it is, probably anybody, like let's say you want to save your password in the computer's memory or in the database, and it is available and accessible to anyone else, then anybody can guess the password. For example, if you write your like ATM pin code number on the page as it is, so anybody can guess it out. So what I'm saying, the vital data you need to protect it, and for the protection reasons there has to be certain technique you have to follow, and that technique is called as encryption techniques over there. So you should able to encrypt the data firstly, and you should able to decrypt the data by the same method. So here I am going to discuss you the logic. Is very simple logic. I'm going to deal with the ASCII value of the characters available in the data, and if I'm going to encrypt it, and then I'm going to decrypt it also. So what I'm trying over here, let's say we have capital A to Z. There are total 26 alphabets, right? So if any given string source string you are having, right? If any source string you are having, what you need to do, you read the character and check it out whether it comes in the capital range or not. Capital character range. If it is coming in the capital character range, total you have a total 26 alphabets. So you divide into two quadrants. First 13, right, means maybe from A to M, and second 13. Right. If it is a lower case, again first 13, next 13. If it is a numbers, with total 10 digits are there, so first 5 and next 5. It means what I'll explain you. Means let us say if you have a character called as A. Now A having ASCII code 65, it is coming in the first quadrant, first 13, right? And like 13 means you gotta let's say 78. It's like if ASCII value is in the range of 65 to 78, right? What you need to do, add 13 in it. Means like if 65 to 77 or 78, you do one thing. If it comes in the first range, then you add 13 in it, so that it become M. And if it is coming in the range of next 13, you subtract 13 from it, so it become A. Means what I'm trying to say, whenever there is an occurrence of A, you replace it by M, and whenever there is an occurrence of M, you replace by A. In the similar manner, whenever there is an occurrence of small a, you replace by small n. If you have a capital small n, you have replaced by the A. If you have a character number 1, you replace by 6. If you have a number 6, you replace by 1. You got my point? So if you have something like string like this, so it should be replaced by M. For example, I'm just like M, maybe P, maybe like any other things, maybe U, something like that, and 6, 7, 8 sort of, right? So instead of axiom 1, 2, 3, if you have a string like MPU, LQ, 6, 7, 8, I'm just like taking a random characters over there. So no, and if anyone come to know about this particular encrypted string, they cannot guess it out that this is though it is a very simple logic you applied. What you applied, instead of using any complicated algorithms, which there are many more algorithms available for the encryption reasons, I'm just using a simple ASCII alterations logic, where you read the character and divide your characters in the two quadrants. If it is a capital, like first 13, next 13. If it is small, first 13, next 13. If it is a digit, and first 5, next 5. So if it is coming in the first quadrant, you add 13 in it, so that it go to the next quadrant. If it is in the original is available in the next quadrant, you minus 13 from it, so it become in the first quadrant over there. So that original string will be converted to the encrypted strings over there, right? So let us discuss the logic for it. So here I develop a method for that reasons, a method for encryption and decryptions. So I create the object of a scanner class, enter the string from the user. Then I create the object of I'm going to write a method called as incre decree. which will accept the source string and encrypt it, and it will accept the encrypted string and convert it to the like source string again. So let us go for the definition of encryption decryptions. Now this encryption decryption method will accept the source string. As I said, it has to, the resultant string will be the encrypted string, and if you pass on the encrypted string, it will be the like original string. So I will get the firstly original string. Then for I equals to 0, I less than string length I plus plus str dot caret I, I will get the ASCII value of it. If it ASCII value comes in the, it is capital letter and comes in the first range, you shift it to the next quadrant, and if it is in the next quadrant, you shift it to the first quadrant. This is for the capital alphabet. Do the same if it is in the 97 to 110 means first quadrant of the lowercase, you convert into the next quadrant, and if it is the next quadrant of the lowercase, you convert into the first quadrant of it. 48 to 53 plus 5, 53 to 58. As you know that the ASCII characters of digits varies from 48 to 58. So 0 got the 48 and like 9 got the 58 over there. So if it is coming the ranges of 48 to 53 plus 5 and minus 5 over there, and then whatever the altered ASCII value, you convert it to the character and then concat to the ESTR, and in this manner return this ESTR. Now this particular method, now if you original string is STR, encrypted string is ESTR, and when you again you give a call to the and pass on ESTR, with encrypted characters you pass it on, then it will give you back the same method. Means instead of writing two different methods for encryptions and decryptions, one method can able to encrypt it also and decrypt also. So this simple method which will alter the ASCII value from first quadrant to second quadrant and second quadrant to first quadrant, will able to convert that entire source string into the encrypted string, and encrypted string if you input, it will give you back the original strings. So this simple logic can able to protect your data. Let's go for the execution. JAVAC my encryption .java my encryption. So if you enter any string like Axiom 123 is the original string, what you will get? Original string is Axiom 123, encrypted string is NKVBZ678. Now just try and understand that instead of writing Axiom 123 become easy to guess, right? If you set the password Axiom 123, one can easily guess it out. But if you set the password that NKVBZ678, nobody will guess it out over there. And if you pass it on this encrypted string again, NKVBZ678, the original string it will return back, that is Axiom 123. It means this particular logic can able to encrypt my source string to encrypted string, and if I input the encrypted string, it will give me back the original string again. So this simple logic I can able to protect the useful for protect data. We are discussing about how we can use string manipulation functions for the manipulation of strings over there. Here we discuss about how to reverse the string, how to check the number of vowels and consonants of the string, how to change the case of the string. At the same time, at the end, I discussed about how I can protect my data, protect my string data, alphanumeric data by applying encryption and decryption techniques over there. Right? Hope you understand the things well. You test this all the codes and try and solve the assignments. You will get all the string manipulations theory clear over there. Okay, thank you.